Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everyone in the Solve community. This is Pradeep, and it is a pleasure to speak with you all again. I'm very excited to have this conversation with you all. It was not planned till this morning, but I told my team that we really need to share with the community the exciting progress that we are making. Many of you know that a few days ago, we talked about how the intersection of decentralized finance and healthcare represents a $1 trillion opportunity. And that sounds like a hyperbole, but the more we study it, the more we get engaged, and the more this opportunity becomes clearer. I'm absolutely of the firm belief that this is larger than we anticipated, and this is an opportunity for the entire Solve community to engage, to own, and to manage. Today, I want to just talk about one thing, and that is the role of the Solve community and the Solve token holders that is built into the decentralized finance solution for healthcare. And that really is the essence of everything else that we are doing. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to refer to the decentralized finance for healthcare as a DeFi for healthcare as a quick acronym. We will refer to the actual name in the next few days. It will be a reveal as to what the name of this overall solution and initiative is. But today, let's refer to it as DeFi for healthcare. So what are we really planning to do here? DeFi for healthcare is being set up as a decentralized, autonomous, community-governed organization, a DAO. Many of you have heard about it, but our belief and our view is that the best way for decentralized finance to be applied to healthcare globally, successfully, and scalably is for it to be community governed, community owned. The model is similar to a republic of the people, for the people, and by the people. So there is a constitution for the decentralized finance for healthcare. And there is the rights and roles of the citizen, participants in this community. All of you, those who are involved in the SolveCare project, are the actual owners, voters, and governors of the DeFi for healthcare solution. This is your project. This is your opportunity. And I want to make sure that you understand that through your ownership of Solve tokens, you have the right to vote, govern, approve, manage, and ultimately create value for everyone in the real life and in the crypto space. So if we think of every Solve token holder as a citizen of this republic, as a governor of this republic, then it makes sense to understand what are the various roles that you can play. If we think of the healthcare and DeFi intersection as a solution platform, then the Solve token holders and the Solve community members are the ones who are shepherding it through its various stages, evolving it, enhancing it, and managing it. To make this possible, we have thought through the details of what the constitution and the role and the rights of every single community participant is in this solution today and in the future. So there are 5 key roles that you can play as a Solve community member, as a Solve token holder. The first is just to be a citizen, a voting citizen who has the right to vote on the direction of this platform and the direction of what kind of solutions and to whose benefit will be launched in the market. And that citizen voter simply needs to have ownership of Solve tokens, and through that, they can become citizen voters of this republic of healthcare. The next level of role is that of a governor, those who wish to be more actively engaged in evaluating proposals, in appointing experts, and in authorizing use and distribution of funds. Those governors are appointed by the citizen voter, and they are authorized to take certain actions leading up to a community vote. The next level of participation in this community is that of an expert. An expert would be someone who has legal or regulatory or technical expertise that this community needs and is willing to pay for. Those experts also have to commit to the overall success and sustainability of the DeFi for healthcare solution platform and the republic. And these experts also need to exhibit a certain amount of Solve token ownership to be appointed and authorized as experts and ultimately to get paid. One of the bigger roles in this community is that of a distributor. Now, this is a really important role where anyone who has access to the end user, be the patient, access to the doctor, ability to go sell solutions to the hospitals, to be able to launch a pharmacy network, to be able to interact with care coordinators or even transportation providers. The goal here is a distributor brings whatever solution the community approves and builds to the end user and is responsible for delivering the solution in the real market. The point of the distributor is that we want to make sure that healthcare isn't delivered just in the virtual space of crypto, that the decentralized finance actually delivers healthcare in the physical space of a patient and a doctor. And to connect the crypto space with the real space of healthcare, the physical space of healthcare, the distributor is the bridge between the community and the end user. And then last but not the least, any of you and all of you can contribute assets to the appropriate asset pools that finance all these products and solutions for the healthcare market. So 5 roles: citizen voter, the governor, the expert, the distributor, and all of the above can also be contributors to this community. So the notion here is that depending upon the role, you need to have different levels of Solve token ownership. The ownership is through a proof of stake. So as long as the voter has, for example, 100 Solve tokens and they stake them, they get the right to cast 1 vote in the community. And there is a fixed number of votes that will be allowed, and we will publish all these details next week. But today it's more important for you to understand that every one of you, whether you have a few Solve tokens or you have a large quantity of Solve tokens or plan to acquire them in the market, your ownership of Solve token through a proof of stake gives you access to various different roles subject to community vote and community approval. For example, I may want to be an expert in healthcare, and I want to work in the community to advance the intersection of decentralized finance and the application of decentralized finance in healthcare. And I have great ideas on how we could use DeFi to launch specific asset pools and specific asset pool funded products and services. But I need to stake a significant amount of Solve token as collateral for my advice and my actions. It's not just enough for me to say I'm an expert. The community has to see that I am willing to commit a certain amount of Solve token stake, and the community has to ultimately vote and approve me as an expert. And then and only then, my expert advice carries any weight in the community. Similarly, if I'm a distributor and I wish to distribute the product, let's say medical devices, to the doctor or the patient, or I want to help finance the building of a care center in Africa, and for that I want to launch a community-funded asset pool, then I must back my proposal with meaningfully large amount of Solve stake so that my proposal can be evaluated by the community as a serious proposal. And if my proposal is approved, I will need to deposit even more Solve token as collateral to ensure that the assets I'm withdrawing from the pool are collateralized by some degree of performance in contracts as well as physical Solve stake. All of this is very well thought through. There is an entire set of governance schemes, 7 in fact, 7 core governance schemes that I will introduce you to next week. There is also the Constitution that I referred to, which gives every single role its rights. We will also publish that in next week for you to take a look at. But the bottom line is this: what we have designed and what I want you to take ownership of, govern, manage, expand, enhance, and scale globally is a decentralized finance and decentralized governance platform for healthcare that can be used in the physical space of healthcare through the actions and roles of the community members that I have described. And all of this is built on top of the Solve community's intelligence and engagement and informed and view of how decentralized finance and healthcare should intersect. And all of this is ultimately based on the proof of stake around Solve tokens. Now, what is the purpose of defining this as a decentralized autonomous organization among any other governance models? When you really think about it, whatever we do here today has potential impact on every single human being on the planet. We're not designing a solution for America or for Africa. we are designing the successful intersection of decentralized finance and decentralized governance applied to healthcare in a manner that we could deliver it to every corner of the earth. And the only way to scale it is to have the community own it, the community govern it, and the community engage all people that need to be engaged, such as patients and doctors and pharmacists and therapists and dentists and optometrists and ophthalmologists and so on and so forth. The notion here is this mission is massive. The opportunity is not $1 trillion, it's more than that. And for us to truly achieve it, it needs to be a community governed model which can scale and scale and scale. So we have presented to you today a model of a truly powerful DAO for healthcare, which is built specifically around community governance by the Solve community around the proof of stake of Solve tokens. Now, what is the role of SolveCare here? We hope to be one of the distributors. There will be many. We hope there will be hundreds, and the community will approve them all. But Solve will certainly be one very engaged and active distributor. As you all know, we are building the global telehealth exchange at SolveCare, and we are engaging physicians and patients and the provider groups to join into the global telehealth exchange, and we are very excited about the uptake. If we allow the global telehealth exchange community to intersect with the decentralized finance community, there is a lot of crossover value. So SolveCare makes a lot of sense as a distributor, subject to the community approval. But in the end, community vote is what matters. And the community vote is at the hands of the community, you, the Solve token holder. Now, the bottom line that I want you to understand is that the decentralized finance for healthcare solution, while may have started with the idea of a handful of people who really are committed to ensuring healthcare is made better, ultimately, it is going to be your product, your decision, and your initiative that will make this truly globally impactful, and where $1 trillion will look perhaps on the smaller end of the scale. Now, where are we with this whole project? So there are three big things. The first is the white paper, the technical paper, which we plan to release in the next 72 hours for your review. And when I say release, I mean to the Solve community, not global, just to all of you who are already engaged and part of the Solve ecosystem, our current Solve token holders, and are very much aware of what Solve's mission is. That white paper and technical paper are almost finished. They are being reviewed and drafted for final proofreading, and those will be delivered to you. The next step then is to release the Constitution, which is defining the charter and the roles and the rights and the intersection of these roles and how committee members are appointed and removed and how a vote is captured and how reputations are earned and how reputations impact your voting rights and so on. It's really modeled after the US Constitution, but we have made it very specific to our mission, your mission, and that Constitution also will be subject to community comments and community suggestions. The Solve community will be able to look at the Constitution and preview it before we make it published to the rest of the world. And the last but not the least is the governance schemes which govern and automate the governance of this entire ecosystem. The DAO must run on a set of schemes made up of a set of smart contracts which allow for truly autonomous operation of this entire global vision of decentralized finance for healthcare. And those governance models and schemas are being designed, but they will take several weeks to implement. And again, we will publish the schemas and the various contracts underneath the governance model to you for comments and commentary before they are fully baked into and published. And then the community will have a chance to review all these schemes from a technical perspective, think of it as smart contract review and audit before we start activating this governance model in real life. And then last but not the least is the ability to stake Solve tokens to assume one or more roles of a citizen voter or a governor or an expert or a distributor or a contributor or all of the above. And that participation will begin as soon as the community has had a chance to review the underlying smart contracts that I just mentioned. The point here is that we want you to be part of the launch of the DAO for healthcare that seeks to bring decentralized finance and healthcare together. You are the owners, governors, and stewards of this DAO. My job is to make sure that it gets stood up with the right mission. And your job then is to own it and operate it and to grow it and to make everybody proud and to create enormous value along the way. And let's not forget the value creation. The whole purpose of this DAO is this is not a charity. This is a sustainable organization that creates value and delivers value. So value creation through value delivery and doing so at global scale is the mission of this DAO, which means that the products and services that come out of this DAO have to be universally scalable and universally applicable to billions of people. And that's exactly the mission and the model for the governance that we have designed that you will ultimately enhance and operate under. The next thing that I want to talk about is the DAO in itself, while significant effort and has taken significant thought behind it, ultimately is enriched by partnerships. So there are a number of very important partnerships that are under consideration or in advanced stages of discussion and or in contracting. And those are oracles for measuring and monitoring various asset pools and their performance, medical device manufacturers who may play a critical role in providing devices and or serving as distributors, provider networks who are keen to utilize a decentralized finance solution. And I want to talk about that a little bit more here in a second. Security and governance, from smart contract audits to governance model frameworks. These are all different partnerships that the DAO can benefit from. And all these partnerships ultimately are subject to the community vote. But let me give you an example of the kind of value the healthcare DAO that brings together decentralized finance and healthcare into to real life can deliver. SolveCare has been in conversations with physician groups around the US that are currently seeking solutions for medical device financing. And SolveCare has been discussing with them what kind of device volume do they need and what is the cost of such devices and who will underwrite the risk and who will ultimately pay for these devices. And these devices, this device model is an excellent fit for a decentralized finance solution. So this would be an example of an asset pool and a product that the community would evaluate and vote on in the very early days of community governance. And once the community governance is in place, then we will make this proposal for the community to consider. But I'm sure there'll be hundreds more proposals like this that the community will be able to take advantage of, not just from SolveCare, but from companies and physicians and hospitals and even patient groups themselves around the world should be able to and will come to you and seek your consideration for a great investment in healthcare that can be financed by decentralized finance. So in the end, what we have here, what you are managing, is a project-based, merit-based, return and reward balanced asset pool management system created in the decentralized finance space, but delivered in real life to patients and doctors and hospitals and pharmacies around the world. That is the intersection between the crypto world and the real life that we want to achieve through the creation of this really well thought out DAO infrastructure. So I want you to take away 5 things here. First is, this is a Solve community owned decentralized autonomous organization. Not SolveCare, is Solve community owned and governed and managed DAO for healthcare and decentralized finance. Solve token ownership is a foundation of participation in this DAO for various roles. You are at the front line of taking a new step towards expanding access to healthcare and improving access to healthcare and quality of healthcare for people around the world. And your vote will determine which solution gets financed and launched in what part of the world, and who does it impact, be it the pharmacist or be it the hospital or a community care center build out, or the creation of more primary care centers, or the funding of personal medical devices, or increasing the number of X-ray machines and MRI machines available to our community. Financing for all those products and services is the task of the DAO. We are already building the community of physicians and a network of ambassadors as part of the Global Telehealth Exchange at SolveCare. Those community members will be able to easily participate in both the Solve platform and care network model, as well as in the decentralized finance DAO. There is a crossover effect. And similarly, community members that come into the DAO may find the SolveCare platform attractive. The point here is to create leverage, but they are independent. SolveCare will stay focused on its mission to launch care networks, more the merrier, across the world, and launch more, expand GTHE and get more adoption of team care and all the things that we are doing as a platform company. And your mission as a DAO owner is to ensure that the financial solutions that you launch affect as many people positively while creating sustainable value for everyone. And if there is a leverage between what SolveCare is doing and what the DAO is doing, then that's even better. So I invite you all to take this into account and get ready to participate in the 3 phases. Get ready to participate in the review and improvement of the DAO model. Get ready to participate in the DAO as a citizen voter or as a governor or as an expert or as a distributor or as a contributor of assets. And get ready to think about how would you apply decentralized finance to your community, to your business model, to your life, to your friends who are currently needing better healthcare than they can get or they can afford. Every one of you knows of at least one story where healthcare wasn't available when it needed to be in the way it needed to be. Those are all opportunities for the DAO. And you will be able to think about and make these proposals to the DAO and propose financially sustainable projects which address the needs of patients and doctors, but also generate sustainable returns for the decentralized finance organization. There is a lot more to cover here. The amount of detail that has been thought through and that will be thought through and implemented is enormous. This is an extremely detailed thought process behind constitution and roles and governance and the technical implementation and the creation of multiple tokens that can drive the behavior and performance of each asset pool. We will cover all that over the next couple of weeks. I will hold a series of sessions with you all to explain one topic at a time. Because if I try to explain the entire DAO structure to you in a single session, we'll be here till midnight. So we'll try to break this up into sessions that will be probably 15 to 30 minutes long on each topic. And today is the introductory session on what exactly is the decentralized finance for healthcare DAO look like? What is your role? And why is it focused on the Solve community and the Solve token? And very simply put, we would never consider designing this decentralized autonomous organization if it wasn't for the Solve community. It is you all and your continued participation and your ownership of Solve token that gives me the framework to put this DAO together and then turn it over to the community to run and to expand and to scale. So I thank you all for your continued participation. I am beyond excited as to what this represents in terms of a global impact. And I stand by my words. Yes, it is a $1 trillion opportunity, and this is your opportunity. So step into it, own it, manage it, and create enormous value for everybody, current and the future generations. We'll talk soon. Thanks, everyone.